Well, good morning. This is Darren Isaac with eXp Realty coming live from you from Montana, and I am fired up. We have a great guest speaker today. I'd like to. I'm going to get right into it because our guest speaker today is going to talk to you about the riches in the niches, and with today's market and the things that are going on. If you'd like to learn about how to get 2 to 3 more listings a month from a niche market, this is the place to be. So I'm just going to introduce Brad really quick, and then we're going to get to it because he's got a lot of great information. He's going to give it to you. Brad has been in the business for over 21 years. He specializes in coastal San Diego, Ocean Beach, Pacific Beach, and La Jolla. He's one of the only real estate agents down there that will actually guarantee property sold in 37 days or he will pay their mortgage. He's a dad, he's a speaker, he's a coach. He's also an author of 4 books, The Real Estate Survival Guide, and they're on Amazon. So he's sold over 500 homes. He's been featured on ESPN radio and what was the other one? KMFB, and he's also a Circle of Excellence Award winner for San Diego Realtors. So give it up for my friend, Brad Brinkman.
Welcome, Brad.
Thank you,
Brad,
guys.
wherever you are.
Thank you, Darren. I appreciate that. And thank you, Lori. And thank you guys. Well, as realtors, it just feels good to be amongst my people here. I love you guys, and I'm just so glad that you're here. So I want to get right into it. I'm going to do my screen share. So forgive me if I'm at the mercy of technology for a second. Let me make sure we got it all sorted here. And just let me know. I'm going to do the.
We can see it.
Okay. All right. So.
You go up to hit presenter view.
Oh yeah, there's it's yeah, it's not working right now. 1 second here.
Yeah, you have to just go, you have to hit presenter view on it when you pull it up. Technical difficulties.
Oh yeah, and I kind of knew that was going to happen when you wanted me to stop sharing, because I was like,
Yeah.
It's okay, no worries. Let's see here. Okay, so we should be able to now. Just tell me when you guys can you guys see that now? Are we all set?
You're
No.
not sharing, so you got to share
Yeah.
again.
Okay. All right, so
We have it now.
Okay, so
There you go. You're good.
all right, so you guys can see that. All right,
Yep.
so well, if you guys are realtors, I appreciate you being here again. Stay with us for another 50 minutes or so. I promised you'll leave with enough practical action strategies to get at least another 3 more sales in the next 60 days. So that's the solid reason for paying close attention here. And the proof is that this is a system that, this probate niche, the very first time that I was, thankful to get into it, I quickly got 5 sales in 60 days just from 2 probate listings. And since that, I've used this kind of this system of probate and the knowledge of probate over and over to make over $500,000 in commissions, and I'm still using it now. So we're going to go through the opportunity, what the opportunity is in probate, cover the probate process, and learn how the company that I work with, MTI Education, can help you earn a certified probate real estate specialist designation. So this is probably the only designation you can actually immediately use to get some, some sales going, regardless of the time of the year, regardless of the state of the economy, regardless of the market. As I know that we're all, in this challenging, changing market. So Darren told you a little bit about me, and MTI Education, the company I work with, we've certified now over 60,000 agents that have come through our workshops. And this is something that we are really passionate about, because at the end of the day, like I was telling Lori and Darren when we were talking before, is this is the reason why we got into real estate, was to help people. And these probate executors, they need help. They're not the expired listings that are mad at the realtor. They're not the for sale by owners that know it all. These are people that, need help. That they're oftentimes, have a full-time job. They're, got family responsibilities, and all of a sudden this thing is plopped on their lap as a probate executor. So it's something where they really need help. They need somebody there that's working with them, building that relationship with them, adding the value, giving them clarity as to their steps to settle the probate estate. So the 7 things that I've learned about probate sellers, they are the most motivated sellers, because a lot of sellers aren't selling right now. Why? Because they don't have to sell. But probate sellers, they have to sell. And the probate leads, they're free. You go down to the courthouse, you can grab them. 90% of the probate estates, they're going to sell property, and people die every day without a trust. And that's the unfortunate reality. And I urge all of you, I always often say this, I do the probate niche, but I wish I didn't, because I wish more people had trust and they didn't have to deal with this. Probate isn't driven by the economy, or the time of the year. It's a life cycle. Probate sellers have heirs and beneficiaries who become buyers. And the National Association of Realtors doesn't have a probate designation certification. And one of the reasons why we didn't pair with them is that they wanted to, not allow any kind of updating of information. And we always want to make sure that we're giving you the best, the best information out there. So, and I found that once you start working the probate niche, this is just it can start as a little piece of your business, depending upon what state you're in and the abundance of the actual probate filings. But regardless, when you start working this niche, you'll see that all your other business will improve. All ships rise with the tide. This is everything, all your business. So the fact is, only about 5% of people actually have a living trust, right? And I just wanted to point out, a will by itself does not escape probate. A will is actually the item that's accepted into the probate court. To get a living trust, it's not that much. It's usually, you can get it for under $3,000, depending on the amount of assets that you have. But what's the cost of probate? Well, it's much more expensive. The way I look at it is, you're going to have to, pay an attorney, you're going to have to pay taxes. And, oftentimes people that had, just for simplicity, if you had $1 million inheritance, they're looking at, somewhere around, 400,000 when it's all said and done. So the benefit of living trust is much less expensive than anything that has to go through a probate scenario. So 95% of these estates, they'll be in probate. It's you guys can see a lot of people that you probably, recognize on here that didn't have, probate. You'll see Steve Jobs, Walt Disney, Michael Jackson. These are folks that, they didn't have their probate set. They didn't have their trust set up properly. They either weren't fully funded or they didn't have them all together. And so it doesn't matter. The point is, it doesn't matter how rich, famous, smart, brilliant, talented you are. 95% of the states are going to go through probate in this country. Now, just some quick terms, probate, that's actually the legal process to determine if the will is authentic, determine, who the heirs are, if there's no will. And it just processes everything that's in the estate. And the estate consists of all the property, all the real property and the personal property that's that the person that passed, the deceased, that they either owned or controlled. Now, you'll hear these things interchangeable. PR, which is the personal representative, that's the person appointed to handle the administration of the estate. So that's often called the administrator or the executor. The administrator is court appointed. The executor is something that's appointed in a will. And if there was no will, the court appoints it, and that becomes an administrator. So personal representative, executor, administrator, probate seller, those are all the same things. Those are the representatives of the actual estate. There's three secrets that I said. Number one, selling probate is much easier than you think. Number two is that probate sellers, these sales are going to drastically increase every year for the next 30 years. And number three is that the probate niche safeguards you from market changes and keeps your commissions consistent. So getting into the first secret, most realtors hear courthouse and they associate it with a problem, right? I mean, it's like, this was something that you've heard the saying where there's a problem, there's an opportunity. And that is very much the case. So really mastering this probate niche is getting educated on probate, knowing what it is, getting the support along the way as you're learning. And then of course, getting the leads and being able to work them. But support is the key. It's one of the main reasons that I work with this company, MPI Education, and we do the probate certified probate real estate specialist designation to support and help you implement what you know about probate. So, my business partners, Mike and Molly, they taught realtors just about the probate niche. They did that because they had bought some probate properties. They were school teachers for forever, and in the summers they would buy real estate, and most of them were probate properties. And what they found was that realtors really didn't know how to work the probate niche. They had no idea. They just thought, oh, that's a hassle, that's a problem, and so they realized that, they did really well with their investments, but they realized that it wasn't really fulfilling to them. Their true passion was teaching, so they can combine their knowledge on probate. They started teaching real estate agents. They went all around the nation, and this is kind of how they got started. So you have you get your lead basically from a courthouse, right? And that's how you look up your leads at the courthouse, and that becomes your listing, and everything is tied to this life cycle. The life cycle of the actual person. So there's a couple different, when you hear probate, the first thing that comes to mind is usually a court. What starts the process? It's obviously is the death, but there's more than just the death files that go through the probate court. So there's conservatorship, there's guardian. This is becoming more common. Someone has to step in and act as the guardian for like for a parent, for an uncle, someone that might have dementia, Alzheimer's, or perhaps some kind of physical ailment. It's these assisted facilities that it's expensive to put your family members and friends in. There's like some of them are they really need to have a conservatorship. They need to have somebody that's kind of their guide. To lead, guide, and direct them. And lastly, there's a living trust. If there's a dispute in a living trust, that too is also heard in the probate court. Everyone knows Robin Williams, the actor. He passed away, and at the time of his death, his kids couldn't agree on what was stated in the living trust, and that's actually, I think, still going through the probate court right now, because some of his trust was not fully funded. So oftentimes, you guys know, if you've had a property that maybe it's an investment, it's in an LLC, and you need to refinance it. You've got to take it out of the LLC, put it into your personal name, because the bank won't lend to a corporation in most instances, and then they forget to put it back. And this is how they escape the trust umbrella. So make sure you're fully funded. If you have a trust, make sure everything, that your bank account, every single thing that you can think about. And if you do refinance the property, make sure you put it back in. So a person is always appointed to handle the administration of the estate. That's really where the beginning of it is. And again, that's the personal representative. And you have a will. If there's a will on record, then there's appointed an executor. So if I were to pass and I didn't have a trust, then I said, hey, I would like to have Darren, help me out and do this for me, kind of run everything. He is named executor in the will. If there is no will on record, then the court appoints that. Or if Darren, declined and said, I can't do this right now. I'm not up for it. Then the court will, they'll appoint somebody. So with the probate real estate opportunity, you have a lot of these folks that are passing. I mean, this is a baby boomer generation, so they have a ton of equity. So this is why they're the most, motivated sellers. So quickly talking about the documents that are important for our purposes. The first document that gets filed is the petition for probate. You want to kind of put a star by that, if you're taking notes, because this is the document that you need to go out and get the actual listing is the petition for probate. It has the name and the contact information for the personal representative. It has the name of the contact for the attorney. It has the information for the deceased, and likely information on all the properties that we might have the opportunity to help the executor with. So this document is asking the court to hear the probate case. For our purposes, this file is our new lead. Okay, it has everything that we need to get the listing. And we'll take a look at a few of those in a minute here. But you have that petition for probate. Then you have the orders for probate. This document is where you find who's appointed as the personal representative. Then you'll have what they call letters of administration. This document gives legal powers to the personal representative, right? Okay, so that's the absolute key. Letters of administration, that's when you can actually list the property. Okay, when you have letters of administration, you can list and sell the property. Okay, so the timeline for this petition for probate, about 30 to 40 days, another 30 to 40 days for the orders. And those are general timeframes. I mean, we know with loss that can all be extended. And I think probably each one of us has, may have had some experience with that in some way, shape, or form. That those are general timeframes, and depending upon your state and the backlog, how long that goes. But in talking about selling a state, there's really two ways. It's either an independent administration or dependent administration. And here's the difference. 90% of the time, independent administration, there's a will on record or there's a blood relative, and that's, that means it's a regular sale, sometimes known as informal administration or full authority. About 10% of the time, it's called a dependent administration, where there's a court confirmation necessary, sometimes known as a formal administration or limited authority. If there's a will on record and there's a blood relative stepping forward to act as the personal representative, the court will most often grant the personal representative independent administration to handle the sale of the real estate. For our purposes, this just means that it's a traditional sale and we just go ahead and we sell the property. For the instances where there's no will on record and there's no blood relatives, someone else might step forward. For instance, a neighbor might come forward. They might tell the judge, Your Honor, the deceased and I were friends, and we got together a few times a year. The judge might say, okay, I'll allow you to be the personal representative, but I'm going to give you dependent administration. So before the title changes hands, I want you to come back to the court for confirmation. And why might the judge ask for this? Well, obviously to avoid the funny business, any kind of fraud. The judge wants to make sure that the neighbor doesn't just turn around and sell the property at below market value to their best friend. The judge wants to confirm the sale. So that's kind of a brief overview of selling the estate. And the person in charge of the estate, let's talk about that. Remember, that's the personal representative, the PR. So they have their own, obviously their own life to deal with. They've been asked to take on this responsibility. So some of the things they have to pay for, it's, usually it's okay. The mortgage has to be paid, right? Like if mom or dad dies, like, does the mortgage stop on the property? If there is a mortgage, no, it doesn't. So we know that, but sometimes you meet heirs that don't know that. And is a probate lead with a mortgage a good lead? Yeah. I mean, because it makes them another, reason, this motivation for them to sell the property quickly. There's also a ton of other expenses, right? You've got, oftentimes, just think about the insurance. You've got association fees. You've got, this is huge, medical, hospital bills, funeral bills, all of this, I mean, think about this when they're just looking at all these fees, right? it's pretty overwhelming, and it can stress them out. And this is, what do they want to do? Most of them just want to get this off their plate quickly. They just don't know how. Okay. And so this is how it works. And in most states and most counties, it's usually about the title can transfer after filing. It's usually about 90. It usually takes 90 days before a property can be sold from start to finish. So just kind of keep that in mind if you're going to the courthouse and getting leads, or wherever you're getting your leads. There's a lot of online services that sell these leads. Yeah, that's the short version of this. There's so much to go through, but I wanted to cover this for Darren and Lori, making sure that I'm giving you guys, because I as much information as possible to give you a clear picture of what your options are with this probate niche. So you can see this list goes on, and you can see why you'd be interested in doing this, because these are motivated sellers. If you connect the dots here, remember we were talking about the baby boomers, right? They're the wealthiest living generation, and unfortunately, the Generation X who's inheriting is they're the poorest living generation. So you have this unfortunate thing where there's these kids. Sometimes they'll net call it 300, 400,000, and you get the listing, and these three kids, they each get 100,000. What do they want to do? A lot of these guys, they need to pay off debts, but a lot of them, you can show them, hey, you know what? Here's the quickest way to build your wealth. And you could show them some other real estate investments. And this is how you can oftentimes make, one transaction turn into 2, 3, 4, 5 sales and on down the road. So there's just tremendous opportunity here to really help these people. Again, it's just selling the house. They have to sell the house. This is something that needs to be done. Now, the actual process, I just want to kind of give you an overview of the process, because obviously someone passes away and an heir or a personal representative can file the legal paperwork themselves. If they do that, that is called pro per. Okay, so they do that all themselves. But 90% of the time, an attorney is hired, and the attorney prepares the paperwork. They file the documents in the court, and the first document that goes to the court that they filed, that is our lead. Okay. Do you remember that what the name of that document was when I covered it? It's called the petition for probate, right? It's the petition for probate. So that is the very first document that's filed. Okay, and that is where we get our lead. Okay, so the question, between the two, who's signing the listing agreement? It's not the person filing. It is the personal representative of the estate. That's who we're building the relationship with, and that is what is actually on that petition for probate. Okay, so firstly, if the PR is out of area or out of state, is that a good lead? Well, that's a great lead, right? They don't know anybody. They just get all, they don't get all the, all the usual marketing in the area. They don't know anyone here, and you can come along and just say, hey, I'm a certified probate real estate specialist. I can hold your hand through this process. These are great leads. Okay. So just thinking about the process, most of them, again, they have an attorney. And now, unless you're in a state where you have, like Florida and Texas, they have significant amounts of probate. I mean, so much to where there is an actual attorney that will specialize only in probate. But most attorneys, they do estate planning, they do other things. So, because people always ask, should I approach the attorney? Yeah, you can kind of, title rep them, so to speak, and drop it every now and then and say hello, leave something for them. But usually the best person to go to is the personal representative. That is your probate lead. Okay. And partners. So I'm sure everyone's heard your network reflects your net worth. So let's talk about the people that we can actually partner with. Now, we just talked about the attorney. The attorney could be a potential lead source, but who else could be a good lead source? Well, a lot of times, who does all the work? It's a paralegal, right? They do a lot of the dirty work for the attorneys anyway, right? And they have their finger on the pulse. Okay. So you have, what about CPAs and estate planners, right? You have, these are great people to network. And there's one that a lot of people forget about too is charities. Charities are left properties every day. But does a charity, want a property? Most of the time they don't. They want to sell it. They want to take the proceeds and put it into a charity, into their charity. So reach out to these charities, whether it's a local faith-based charity or national charity or local presence. Call them. Ask for the person that handles, who handles the gifting of real estate. You can set up a meeting with them via Zoom or talk to them, go meet them in person, even better. This is important. You also have assisted living communities where, these are things that you can reach out to their PR department and just say, hey, I'm here just in case. I'm a certified probate real estate specialist. I care about people. I want to make sure that it works out well for them. If you have anybody that is in such a challenging position as probate, I'm happy to answer any questions. I don't charge anything for any of my consultations, and my goal is to give you a clear picture of all your options so you feel you're making the right decision. So this is the example of some of the partners. Now this is a typical probate. This is kind of like the gold nugget here is when you actually start to see these and see this. So you'll see there's a case number and then the county. And oftentimes what you want to do is you go down to the probate clerk. Okay. You say, hey, you go down to the courthouse and you're looking for the probate clerk's desk or the probate clerk's office. Now, even if you're buying your leads, your probate leads, online, it's really good to go down to the courthouse. You can oftentimes there'll be, computer terminals. You can search through your files and look for files that might be of interest to you. And you can turn to the probate clerk and you can request to see those files because they're all public information. So, and we're going to look at some of those, but this is what's crazy about it too. Is in this picture, you kind of see there's a ton of stuff in the garage, tons of items. And I mention this because there are oftentimes a lot of opportunity to help people with personal property sales. Sometimes people are just like, hey, if you could get rid of it for us, Brad, that's all we want you to do. Just clear out the garage. And I would say, well, you want me to sell it? And like, no, we don't even want to deal with it. So sometimes there's opportunity there. You might have somebody that loves to go through that stuff and itemize it and sell it. You might find stuff like a buddy of mine has his brother loves to do that. My buddy Chris, he's a realtor, and whenever he gets probate listings, he's always calling his brother and saying, hey, I've got these. This is him. He got this. He got these chairs and they were like, oh, we don't care. You can have them. And he found out these chairs were they were worth like $6,000 a piece for the chairs. And this was only after they sat in his garage for 3 or 4 months. And so of course now he thinks that everything's worth $5,000 or $10,000, and he finds out they're only worth $20. But I got to give him credit, with that recent win with those. So the personal property is there too. There's some stuff there. So you'll see. I mean, these are we see mostly houses, but you'll see everything. You'll see houses, you'll see apartments, you'll see retail stores, even strip malls, land, mobile homes. I've seen even churches go through probate. You'll see it all as you start to look at these files when you go down to your courthouse. But we know that our business, we've got, there's a small percentage of 9% of realtors that are doing, we have that one, or the 1%. So 9% of realtors write 20% of the sales, right? Then you have that 1%, that those top realtors that do most of the sales, right? So, what are the rest of the realtors looking for, right? What are they looking for? They're really looking for new business, new listings. And this is where secret number 2 comes into play, because these probate sellers are going to drastically increase over the next 30 years. Okay. Because for those of you like me that have been in real estate since the mid-90s, you might know this story. We saw home prices start to increase significantly, as much as 40-50% in many markets. That's when those dual incomes started to happening. I remember my mom's, she got into real estate when I was in 6th, 7th grade. And, the value started going up because people had more to spend. So, we saw like homes actually doubling in prices from, 90 mid 90s to the early 2000s. And that phenomenon, that once in a lifetime occurrence where, you had more than one earner in the family, many women were coming into the workforce. So that dual income really, that really pushed it up. But now we have this is yet another phenomenon. We have 17 trillion worth of real estate inheritances passing through probate by the end of 2023. So that's worth repeating, 17 trillion in nationwide real estate inheritances. So just imagine the amount of opportunity you're going to have when everyone else is saying, oh, the market's slow, it's hard to get stuff going, when you're working the probate niche. So this is all from, if you go onto estate settlement, .com, they have all kinds of stats in here, and what's happening and all the numbers, so you can see the aging of America, which again, it's a short version of it. 75% of the wealth in this country is concentrated by those 115 million seniors out there, right? That's where the wealth is, and it's being transferred right now. So this is a U.S. Census chart. Again, it shows from like 2010 to 2020 how we'll have 20 million people in that 60 plus age group. And if you take in this full slide, this 150-year snapshot, this is actually the biggest jump in our country's history. And it is funny, like when everyone was doing well in 2005 and in 2006, if you told someone, hey, why don't you take a foreclosure class or a short sale class? They'd be like, what are you, crazy? We're busy, selling property. This is exactly the same thing that's happening right now with probate. It's like you're able to really get ahead of the curve here. So that's exactly where we are now. Probate is huge right now, and it's getting gigantic. And that's exactly why probate seller sales will drastically increase more and more every year for the next 30 years. Okay, does everybody see this? This is an opportunity that the probate niche is to get into and really take advantage of the opportunity that's out there.
Definitely it's an advantage.
Yep. And the third secret is the probate niche has the most motivated sellers. Again, that keeps your consistent income, and nobody likes that, the uncertainty, right? The going the long periods of time between commission, that uncertainty, that goblin of doubt creeps in. And this is where it's key. And so we know that just traditional real estate, out of all the homeowners in the United States, you get about 6% of those people that will actually sell. But here in the probate, with all these people that have to sell, right? 90% of these. So this is the rarely understood probate niche, with only a few realtors that actually know how to do this and want to help people. Okay, so these are sellers that have to sell. Again, all to reiterate this. Here's again, just think about that. This is, I love this visual because it's like, this is what they have to do. This is why they have to sell. This is it. You screenshot this so you just know. I mean, like, this is what they're up against. And that's where they're just like, at some point, your typical executor, 45, 50-year-old, guy or gal, has just so frustrated, and oftentimes it's not only the responsibility of the estate, and like Lori and I were talking before, it's like there's other beneficiaries, right, that have to all agree and figure out how this is all going to work out, and all the stuff that they have to deal with. So being there for them is critical. The probate sellers, they need a realtor and they don't know what they're doing. So as I said at the beginning, it's typical. Now this was an investment. If you look at this too, I mean, some of these probate sellers, they need to sell like right away. They don't even want to go to the open market. The beneficiary is just like, look, if you can take this off our hands, we're willing to do it. We don't want to deal with it. And as long as you let them know, like, hey, if you fix this up, you can make a little bit more money here if you fix this up. If they don't want to do it, there it is. It's after a lot of these older folks, and it's very unfortunate. I've seen so many of them, their families, or for whatever reason, there's so much deferred maintenance in these homes. So, whether you're doing this and doing the investment yourself, or you're responding to one of the millions of texts that we get every day from people saying, hey, I'm an all cash buyer, and you sell it to an investor, the opportunity is there. And this was one of our students that, he had got this put like $20,000 into this property, and he ended up doing a $53,000 net profit. So we all know that's there, and these guys are ready. Some of the folks that have helped, we've helped out a lot of realtors over the years. So this is getting into it. This is the probate lead. So you can see this is here. It's the petition for probate. This is, I went through there's a lot of you from different states. This one I just grabbed from Georgia, but this is because this one is how most of them look. And you can go through there when you're going out of the courthouse. This is what you'll look for, and you can see the case number. You'll see the name of the deceased. You'll see the actual physical address, and the name of the personal representative. So all this is key when you're going through this to look at these files, and you'll be able to quickly identify what properties are in the state, because they'll say hey, here they're listed, and then you're looking for that signature. You're looking for that person that is the personal representative, and it just usually says that right out there. He also has the attorneys here. If for some reason you're not able to get a hold of the personal representative, let's say it's in your backyard, it's in maybe an area that you farm, and you say, hey, I really want to get a hold of this executor, and I can't. I've called them, I've texted them, I can't find them through any search. I've FedExed them, information to call me. And you can contact the attorney and just say, hey, I specialize in doing this, and I'm just wondering, do you have anybody that's helping you? And there's a lot of ways to do that. We don't have enough time to get through it today, but that's kind of the meat of it. And oftentimes you'll be able to see the copy of the will, and that will give you information as well. So when you're down at the courthouse, you'll see all this stuff, and you'll be able to kind of rifle through it and get the information that you need. So we all kind of talked about this probate opportunity, and I mentioned that there is the MTI education that kind of connects all the puzzle pieces here. So what we do the education, we do the support, just kind of bringing everything together, because I gave you just the real short version here. And you could go through this the process, and you can become certified. You get a lot here with this our probate system, and Darren will tell you more about it. But basically, this is the best way to learn, because when I went through this, I was like, okay, I understand. You can stop, you can ask questions. There's all kinds of good things here. The other thing is, you can actually start to get this is our website here, but you can actually, and this is all of some of our training videos. And what you learn how to actually generate those leads. And there's a ton of places to get your probate leads. There's Probate Data. They actually give you a free subscription to Probate Data if it's available in your state. Right now in Montana, I don't think they have them, but I know a lot of the other states, they're out there. Also, All the Leads, that's another company that sells probate leads. There's a lot of places that you can find those. And then this is, we go more into the specifics about all the stuff that I covered in our class, and the marketing and some of the ways to best communicate to these folks, because this is important. I mean, a lot of times they do want to fix up the property, and you can use some inheritance funding companies that will come and help these probate executors. They need a cash advance. And they'll put you with, in contact with somebody, and all kinds of things that you can learn to help these probate sellers, because that's really what we're all about, is making sure that these things work out well. This is why we have the support with all of our weekly trade calls. We have our Facebook community. We have unlimited recordings and such. Now, the other thing that's important, you also are in the U.S. Probate Services directory once you take the class. And this is a great way to get leads, because a lot of people are Googling, real estate, an attorney, real estate agent that does probate. And this is one of the number one ranking probate resources on the internet. This U.S. Probate Services. So this is something that our company has come up with, and really to help you guys get business. If you look at a lot of the search engines, it comes up quickly, and you'll be able to have an opportunity to be involved with that on your probate journey. And so this is like one of our realtors. They put this in there, that they're certified probate real estate specialists. And so, again, just to recap, you guys go to your courthouse, get your leads, and then you start working them. You start to, go over some of the education. This will be recorded. I'm sure Darren and Lori will send out a replay so you can kind of go through it. We're happy to try to go deeper with you guys, and helping you with this. There's just so many. I mean, I could go through. There's a list as long as my arm of agents that have helped. And this is really just gave them that passion and kind of reignited their desire to go out there and sell real estate and really help people, because they're seeing how much of a difference that they're making in these people's lives. So this was Andrea. She was great. She's an agent in Los Angeles. She does some of her posts. This was Tom. He was great. Now a lot of this was, you get these things because all your business is taken off, because once you start helping someone like that and you're going through this, it's like, wow. And it becomes real. Like when you start to actually talk to these personal representatives and you hear what they're going through, and they're able to offer them resources to actually give them clarity, giving them a clear picture of all their options with their probate so that they feel they're making the right decision. So this is some of the stuff that you'll get. I have a special deal. I'll put the link in the chat here in a second. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here in just a second. And if you guys have any questions, we can kind of go through them. And yeah, hopefully that was helpful for you guys.
Wow, thank you so much, Brad. I tell you what, you brought the fire today. That's amazing information. I know that when I got certified with probate, the reason why I got in was basically the things that you were talking about. The fact that the upside potential over the next 30 years is huge, and when you start looking at the different niches that you could potentially get into, this one had the most upside potential. And it evens out your roller coaster of sales. It's not, because like you said, it's not dependent upon the economy. It's not dependent upon a lot of the outside factors that take us through the ups and the downs, So that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that stuff with us.
That was fantastic.
Oh, you're very
just fantastic. Does anybody have questions? Because he's got us end in about 10 minutes. So if you've got questions, ask Brad now.
I have a quick one. Brad, I'm in Florida. So you mentioned that there's usually standalone probate attorneys. Would you suggest that be the first place to start? Because are you going to see as much of the courthouses with such a large presence of probate attorneys?
Florida is a gold mine. Honestly, the agents that we've been able to help in Florida have been, it's just never ending. You can build an entire business, off of that. So I don't know. Was that what your question was?
Yeah. So because you're saying that we have more probate attorneys here, would you suggest us pursuing the attorneys first and then going to the courthouse? Because I'm thinking more of the people are going to be using the probate attorneys here than just going to the courthouse with personal.
Yeah, you can. You could definitely do that. I think if you're going to do that, that's the state to do it in. Like I was saying, it's kind of like title rep it. Go there, say hello. Leave some kind of information. As to why they should work with you. Again, a lot of this is it's heart-centered stuff. People, you can't fake caring. So when you're going into these places and you're saying, hey, I want to help anybody that you might be in this tough position. That's what's going to be able to get you the business. But I would say if you're doing it in any state, there's a ton of opportunity to go to these attorneys in Florida who handle probate. And just like, hey, I don't care. Even if you have it's kind of like they're asset managers, right? For banks in those states. That's the way I look at them. So yeah, they're a huge resource for you. Finally got this link. Sorry, I was. that's the link. The link was so jacked up. Technology is not my forte, as Darren knows. He's sheltered me through many tech challenges. I have some tech wounds, but that's the link for the course. And like I said, my business partners, they're just like me. They care about us as realtors. They know the ungodly amounts of stress that we go through. We're juggling 30 balls, trying to make it all happen. And I can tell you, when I started this probate niche, I actually was going through a tough time in my life, and I wasn't sure, what was happening. It was just I had a really bad illness I was going through, this just gave me, it was like, it lit me up. It was just to be able to see that, oh my gosh, it's not like you aren't getting all the usual objection. I mean, you're getting the usual, hey, everybody's calling me, stop that. But it's not like they're not a for sale owner where they know it all. They're not an expired listing where they hate realtors, and calling around the just sold with them where you just have to, constantly keep the volume. All that stuff is great. I still do it. I love it. But with the probate, it's a different thing. It's just something that it's not for everybody. But if you really want to go out there and help people, it's a tremendous opportunity.
And you
Yeah,
teach
that's
the
awesome.
marketing side, right? That's what you do. So that's the second step, that they would go through the program with you once they do that.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so what I do, when I took the class, I said, guys, this is, man, because Mike and Molly Torres, they're the owners, and Jonathan is the tech guy. He does all the probate data and the U.S. probate services. I said, this is a fantastic program, but as a realtor, like you have no realtors that are working with you, and the realtors, they need to know how to talk to these probate executors. They need to know how to market to them. And so what I do is it's called the Ultimate Probate Lead Converter. And because every realtor thinks, what do we need? We need leads. No, what you really need to know is learn how to convert those leads. And that's what I help you do with this probate executors. And so I have a program where we actually offer these probate executors. So I call them up. So here's an example. It's like I put together an ebook from all the information that I got from the class, and it says, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Probate Seller, I found that there's 7 common mistakes that most executors make. And I wrote a book about it, and it shows you how to avoid them under 10 minutes. What's your email? And I'll send it to you. So you're giving them something when you're calling them. You're not just like, hey, can I meet you for a listing? It's like, where are you at? You have discovery questions. Do you need a landscaper? Do you need a roofer? What did you get a chance to read my ebook? What did you find helpful about it? Oh, you didn't? Okay, no problem. Where are you in the probate process? Have you filed your letters of administration? How about your attorneys? Everything going okay? Are you getting all the information about that? Just these type of things where you're giving them a probate timeline. Do you know the timeline? You can print this out and put it up on your wall so you have some clarity here. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is the person that actually is giving me good information. So that's what I do. That's my part of it. I teach that where I have the compelling mailbox letters, the 3D mail that gets open. I have the 21 email sequences that follow the ebook, so that you actually have a reason to call them. And each email, it's not some fluff email. It's actually, attachments with beneficial things to help the person along their probate journey. So I really just fell in love with this niche because it crosses over trust sales too. There's a lot of people that are executive trust. So many of them.
Hey, Brad, what systems are you using for all that follow-up and all the marketing?
So what we do through our company, we actually use Infusionsoft or Keep, and so we actually do it for the realtors. So because that's all we ever need is another CRM, right? I mean, so we're just like since I was thankful to be able to create the program, I said, look, here's where we're at as realtors. Like we want it simple. I want something that just says, hey, I put them into a system. I know where they are every week. And I just have to follow up with a phone call, and I need to know when I send out my letter to them. So they're getting the mail, they're getting your email, and they're getting your call, your text. And there's so much information about probate. If you just like read a little bit about probate, and then you made like a 1 minute video, you're like, hey, I wrote a book on probate. You just text me your email and I'll get it to you. It's so they see your face and you give them something helpful in their probate process, and to say, hey, come get this free ebook. So that's kind of why I made that system, and why I was able to partner with them about 10 years ago, and it's just been phenomenal. I can't thank them enough for going out there and teaching us as realtors, and then I can't thank them enough for allowing me to show them, like, hey, like I said at the beginning of the call, these are my people, these are real estate agents. I'm shoulder to shoulder with you guys. I get it. I know it's not easy. It's like pulling teeth to get listings sometimes, but this is an opportunity where it just, gosh, it gives back so much.
Yeah,
So,
that's
Brad-
awesome. Well, Brad,
Yeah,
we're at
awesome.
about we got about
George
2
had a
minutes left.
question.
Yeah,
George,
Hey, just a quick
left.
comment. Awesome stuff today, Brad. And just a curious question real quick. I know we're about out of time. But I've seen CPRES before, and I assumed it was North American National Association of Realtors. You say it's not. Your MTI teaches it and gets you that designation. But is that not an NAR designation?
No, it's not an NAR designation. They wanted us to make it a NAR designation, but they said, well, in order to do that, you keep the program, and they have complete control of it. We're like, no, we're not doing that. We're realtors.
Right.
The market's constantly changing. The people need different stuff, so we wanted to be able to change the program. So no NAR association.
Yeah, I get you. I understand that. Why not to do that now? But I never knew this until today, that I thought that was NAR. And then you mentioned something key here. Having that designation gives you some authority or clout or respect in the probate arena when an attorney sees that, or a personal rep sees that. So that designation is a vital part of this whole process, correct?
It's essential, because when you take that class, then you know how to speak the language. So,
Right.
so like you're calling into an attorney's office, and you're not like saying, hey, can I talk to Mr. Attorney? You're like, hey, are you the attorney record for case number blah blah blah? And all of a sudden the paralegal or the gatekeeper's like, no. And I say, I need to speak to them. All of a sudden you're able to speak to that attorney, right? But you won't know this until you go through the class. These are the little nuances that are important. So that is what you're talking about, that CPRES designation. It's setting you apart. It's making you memorable in a different way. It's positioning you different than every other realtor that's out there.
Sure. Got it. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you,
Cool.
Darren.
Does anybody else have any more questions? Brad's got a hard stop right now. He's got another meeting to go to.
Yeah, I want to make sure that, I mean, if there's any questions, you guys have any questions, please let me know. I just thank Darren and Lori so much for, allowing me to come on to speak with you guys. I just say, you guys keep your fists up in the air. I love seeing you guys here, being out there wanting to help more people. So keep up the great job, everybody. And thank you all so much.
Thanks,
You did a
Brad.
fantastic
Best.
job. Yeah, thanks, Brad.
That's awesome, man.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Hey,
you.
so
Thank you,
Laura and
Brad.
I'll stay on for a
Take care.
couple of minutes. Just if anybody has any more questions, I do work with Brad and some other things. So if you need anything or if you want to know how to get a hold of Brad, just reach out to me. I've got his personal information. So there's some other things that Brad does too that's kind of interesting. I want to have him back on another seminar at some point to teach a couple other things too, like how to get your own, how to actually write your own book and do marketing from a book. So that's kind of a cool thing. Does anybody have any more questions before we sign off?
Yeah, I do, Darren. How long is the class?
So
certification?
typically those classes are anywhere. They do an online version. So what happens is you go through and it's kind of at your own pace. So I got certified in probate through a different company about 2 years ago before I met Brad, but it's real similar. And so they go through, it's all mostly online, and then they give you all the information and the handouts and all the marketing. And then you typically get involved in a Facebook group where then you can collaborate with other probate people that are learning how to do it or have already done it, so that you can get information on it. So it's more of a work at your own pace kind of a thing. And then a lot of them, like the one that I'm involved with, then we have a weekly mastermind where we get on once a week for an hour, and we talk with Chad Corbett, who was my mentor. And then we go through probate. We talk about what's going on in the market, marketing, where to get leads, how to talk to them, what's going on in the, the economy, all that stuff. And MTI does the same thing. So it's a really great program. And I'll tell you, if you're interested in a niche, there is no other better niche than probate that's going to have the upside potential that this has, and it will level out your sales so that you're not doing this roller coaster seasonally.
Sorry about that.
So, anyway,
Okay, how long did it take you, Darren, when you got certified?
I actually was able to go through it, the whole thing by myself, in about 3 weeks, and I
Okay.
didn't do it all every day. I just kind of went through it at my own pace. And what's nice is once you go through that, you have access to all those files, so you can go back and reference them. If you have questions about how to look up the petition, what does it look like? What's the name that I'm looking for? And one of the things that we're taught, and MTI teaches it as well, is how to go market to attorneys and set up your referral base. So you want to have people like movers, people that can move, go in and move out of home. You want to have auctioneers. You want to have contractors. You want to have remodeling people. You want to have painters and landscapers. And so you build this network of people, so that way when you're marketing to your probate client, you can basically, you're the one-stop shop guy or gal, and I can help you with all the things that you're going to need to go through this probate process, from getting the house sold to making sure all the property is taken care of, and that you get top dollar for what you're trying to do. So there's a lot of involved in it, as far as the marketing side, and the service that you offer. So it's great. It's a great niche. I can tell you that for sure.
Nice. Well, thanks. This was good.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Darren, Lori.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm gonna need to check
Thank
out
you
my
guys.
hard stop at 1. Thank you all so much. Bye-bye,
Yeah,
everyone.
you're welcome. And just so you guys know, I do have this recording will be edited. So if you want it, let me know. So it'll look nice, and you can send that out to the people that you're have on your team and the other
Thank you.
agents. You're welcome. Have a great one.
Very nice. Everybody have a great day. Make it a great
Thanks,
one.
guys.
Take
Bye.
care, everybody.
Bye, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.